Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I want to let you know before we go into the main video today in the group, we're gonna talk about, you're hearing all this tariff stuff and the economy. We're gonna talk about the bigger picture of things that you're not seeing in the media and what could really be going on here. We're also going to remind you of something from one of my theories about the bigger picture of where XRP is going and all. So we're going to have to go back to the past a little bit and show you what could be forming. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. So if you want to join the group, go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or if you'd rather, you can join through YouTube by clicking this join button below any of my videos. Now, as I told you, I've been educating you on my new partner, Caleb and Brown. This is a great video that shows just some of the things you can do with Caleb and Brown. Look at this, set target orders, like i.e. target buy or sell orders. I didn't even know. Well, yeah, I think I had seen this in my life. That you can refer friends and you can earn money. Okay, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, this is something I covered with Caleb and Brown right off the bat. I said, let's say I sell out of my XRP. I'm here in the U.S., you're in Australia. Can I wire the U.S. dollars back into my bank account? How fast does that happen? And these guys said, we've got relationships with banks all over the world, including in the United States. They are regulated state by state in the United States as well. And they said you can wire money and normally it shows up within the next day. That's a game changer for me. And so here's my page on, and I've made this simple for you. I've got a link in the very top of the description of this video. And I've also created a domain it's xrpwealth589.com. So for those of you that are not sitting at your computer, you're not going to forget that. xrpwealth589.com. When you type that in, it forwards you right to my Caleb and Brown page here, and all you have to do is click the sign up today button. This is the special link. Okay, check it out. Who remembers this? This is Miguel Valles, who was head of XRP markets. He's no longer there, but he was head of XRP markets a few years back.
Like, how do you intend to distribute the rest of the XRP then?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Mahir. And I don't necessarily know that we'll ever distribute all of it. In my mind's eye, there's a possibility where, we end up more of a lending kind of, more of a lender of last resort capacity, maybe. I think that would be a little strange for a software company, and maybe some things would have to change structurally. Maybe we have to have a different organization or something. Who knows, right?
Okay. Guess who's coming to XRP Las Vegas? Miguel Valles. He's going to be there. Just announced. Pump.games is his new company. I don't know if he works there or he's one of the founders, but Pump.games, he'll be there to talk about it. As I'm talking, I'm sitting here looking at Communist Senator Elizabeth Warren on CNBC. No telling what she's spouting off. I'll watch that after this video. So go to xrplasvegas.com. We've got like 42 days until we're there. All right, the market's still boring. I'm moving on from that. I want you to watch the first 2 minutes and 45 seconds of this clip. This is from Crypto Darren at Fame21More. He's a really smart dude. Go give him a follow. Candace Mesk, a blockchain enabler for local banks, speaks about Ripple. This is great.
That it is a viable option, but what are your thoughts about Ripple and XRP being used as a cross-border remittance solution?
I've started looking at that solution maybe about a year ago. I was actually doing research into what could disrupt retail forex, as an example, and I had a look at this and I was quite impressed by it. And I see that it's only grown since I first had a look at it. So I think it's certainly a very promising solution. Ripple as a company has this is one of their products. They do other things as well. They acquired a business called Motako a couple of years back that does institutional custody of digital assets. So they've certainly, I think, got a great reputation for being a trusted blockchain technology business. And of course, they have their own cryptocurrency, XRP, which has been around a number of years. I don't know if it's in the top 10, but I think it might be. So their payments network is a very interesting concept. So the idea is it's an alternative to a SWIFT, but built on distributed ledger technology, which provides us transparency, speed, and quite a lot of cost efficiency. So instead of using SWIFT, and banks, when they have SWIFT, they have these funds they hold on behalf of one another called nostros and vostros, right? That wouldn't need to exist anymore. If XRP, for example, was used to bridge two fiat currencies on either side. So one bank issues the instruction to Ripple, Ripple swaps that fiat into XRP, swaps it to fiat on the other side, and boom, the transaction's done in a matter of milliseconds, and it costs like next to nothing. It's brilliant. What it requires, though, to be really, really successful is to have more participants on it. So last time I checked, it had around 300 financial institutions participating on RippleNet for their payments optimization, I guess. That compared to SWIFT is quite small. SWIFT has got many, many thousands of participating institutions. So once more adopters are on board, and adopters are not individual users here, they're businesses, they're financial institutions. When we see more of them on board, we'll see this thing grow at an exponential pace.
Uh-oh. You mean when we flip the switch? Now, this is fascinating right here. I can't believe that Bitcoin Desk is even covering it, but they had James Murphy, Meta Lawman, on the show to talk about his lawsuit against Homeland Security to find out who Satoshi is. And when they asked him this dumb question you're about to see, his response is fascinating, because what he's basically saying is, look, either this lawsuit finds out who Satoshi is, or AI is going to figure out who Satoshi is. And that's something that hadn't even been spoken about
in some way.
Would you say to the Bitcoin community members who say we should not try to figure out who Satoshi is, that we should respect his privacy and we should try to keep Bitcoin as decentralized as possible?
I'm a huge believer in privacy. I'm a big believer in freedom. Of privacy is a critical element of that. And we've got an emerging problem now with AI, where anybody who's got a data trail, basically AI can figure out who it is. And so you've got this software that was coded in C++ back in the day, and then all of the stuff that Satoshi, all his messages and whatnot. So unfortunately, we're in a world where AI really going to make privacy very difficult. And when I think about that, I think of how far ahead the cypherpunks were in the 80s, kind of anticipating how, new strategies need to be developed to protect privacy. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, this story, if you take it on face value.
Are you telling me that the United States of America that's out there telling all these people to promote Bitcoin and buy Bitcoin and all that, you're telling me that they don't know and didn't know that at some point AI would figure out who it was?
You is that Satoshi said to a DHS investigator, yeah, come on out. You got me. I'm it. And by the way, there's 3 others of us I'd like to introduce you to. And, in America, you don't have to speak to law enforcement. So the whole story is pretty odd. If we've got a person who's really focused on preserving their identity, then the story doesn't add up. To me, it makes perfect sense to other people, but if you're trying to protect your identity, this whole idea of saying, yeah, you got me, come on out to California, let's sit down and talk about it, and let me introduce you to my 3 colleagues who developed it, and then if you think more about that, well, that would mean that if there are 4 developed Bitcoin, then the 4 of them somehow have the keys to the million tokens, and what they all agreed, we just will never, move those tokens or spend them. It becomes harder and harder for me to believe that this story is quite what she said. And so, that's what I'm interested in.
Boy, that guy has some good sense. This is the same thought pattern I've had for years on it. Now, here's one of the things that you're not going to hear about Trump from CNN. This is what's really going on.
Inflation is now nearly zero under Donald Trump, down from 5.7% annualized in Joe Biden's final inflation report. It's one heck of a move in 2 months. What is driving it? So last month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics dropped new inflation numbers for the month of March, as in before the tariffs. This was Trump's second inflation report card, and it was even better than the first. Overall, inflation actually dropped on the month thanks to crashing energy prices, and even core inflation, which excludes energy, came in at an annualized rate of just 0.7%. That brought year-on-year inflation down to 2.4 from 2.8 the previous month, and it brings Trump's average inflation rate to 1% even, compared to Biden's final number of 5.7. Meanwhile, new producer prices also came in. These measures what companies pay at a 4-year low, also with a monthly decline and a 0.7 annualized on core. Now that's down from 20% annualized in Biden's final number. Rarely has inflation dropped so hard so fast, so what did it? Energy was the star, dropping 2.5% on the month. That's a 1/4 drop annualized. Gasoline actually dropped over 6% in a single month. There were some other drops in medical, pharmaceuticals, and travel, along with a pleasing drop in used car prices. I'd been using those as a proxy for self-deportation since departing illegals flood the used car market, and they dropped about 0.7% on the month, which is about 9% annualized, a decent clip. The rest of it was a mixed bag. Flat for shelter, houses, and rent. Prices fell for fruits, vegetables, and bread, but rose for meat and eggs. This was before Trump brought down egg prices with one cool trick of stop killing chickens. So it was mainly energy. Now that's a...
There you go. They're not going to tell you that. Look at this. They're also not going to highlight this. Had a very productive call with the president of Mexico yesterday. Likewise, I met with the highest level Japanese trade representatives. It was a very productive meeting. Every nation, including China, wants to meet. Today, Italy. And then you got this. European Central Bank cuts interest rates to 2.25%. You're about to see the world do this, including the United States. And this will be one of the many catalysts for crypto market booming. Gold's trading like we're in a depression. Over the last 20 years, gold outperforming stocks, up 620% compared to 580%. Over the last 9 months, gold has officially surged by over $1,000 an ounce. And Gold Telegraph has it right here. Suddenly, people from the digital community are getting behind gold now that it is shining and smashing record highs These were the same people promoting the drop gold marketing campaign and telling me and many others to have fun staying poor. Everyone can see through you. Now, myself and Brad Combs Digital Perspectives are two of the only influencers in crypto, not the only, but two of the only. I think Zach Rector talks about it a lot, but there's not many who have been saying all along, no, it's not Bitcoin or gold, it's both. You can have both, but gold's not going, God's money's not going anywhere. So let me show you this. This is from Gold Telegraph right here.
It's like what you said, Matt. It's, between the power from 5 companies controlling the media, you have wealth inequality that's gone parabolic due to incompetent policies that's been put in place for decades. Mm-hmm. That raises a question about accountability and transparency in this system. The Fed operates in ways that go beyond its constitutional intent, functioning almost like a fourth branch of government that's
absolutely
members are unelected. And in that light, has gold's rise now that the world is globally is paying attention to serve as a kind of audit on that unchecked power?
Yeah, it's the ultimate BS detector. Again, gold is as Buffett classically said and others, it's just a pet rock. It stares at you. You pay it to sit in the ground and stare back and do nothing. It does nothing. You're right. It does nothing. You can do swaps. You can do leverage with currencies, with stocks and bonds. It does nothing. It just sits in the ground and stares back at you. But it does one thing extremely well. While everything else is being very busy, it holds its value. Again, you can give 1,000 examples of how that's true. And it is a BS detector. And there is a reason the central banks of the world are stacking gold at record levels. There is a reason since 2014, even before we weaponized the US dollar, central banks were net dumping US treasuries and net buying physical gold. This is even before we weaponized. It's accelerated exponentially since we weaponized in 2022. There is a reason that these things are happening. There are all these countries net settling outside, that the BRICS are rising, that they have their own version of a World Bank and an IMF in the BRICS. Again, it's not going to replace the dollar, defeat America, and the yuan and China are going to emerge as a monopole. No, it's a new global disorder coming where there's not going to be hegemony anymore by the U.S.
Global disorder coming.
It's going to be mess. But it is the ultimate BS detector.
I like what he says here. Gold is sending a big warning shot around the world. Okay, we're going to DAIXRP.com, which is the Patreon, or you can click the link below this video, click the join button below the YouTube video, and you can join through YouTube if you'd prefer. There you get the full video, including the YouTube video, plus the extended video with no advertising. And today we're going to talk about, here's the bigger picture. I mean, this is the world stage, folks, and this is the bigger picture, the bigger political, economic picture of what's going on with all these tariffs and this changing world order. And I'm going to give you some of the XRP theories that I believe might start bubbling to the top in the midst of all this. Maybe Trump card, the ace card, ace in the hole. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.